Today we discuss the third topic, transforming bad reputation into the path. If someone slanders me in countless ways and my bad reputation spreads throughout the 3,000 worlds, still I'll hold deep compassion and praise their virtues. This is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even if others slander me with all kinds of harsh words and secretly spread rumors about my faults, causing my bad reputation to spread throughout the whole 3,000 worlds. Perhaps in the past in some places like Tibet, where it was quite remote, transportation and communication were not convenient. A person's bad reputation spreading throughout worlds would be difficult. But in today's internet era, some so-called scandals or some sort of rumors, these kind of things, can indeed become widely known to many people in the world. Many worldly people are deeply attached to reputation. They care about reputation a lot. However, as spiritual practitioners, it would be good if bad reputation doesn't spread. But even if it does spread, there's no need to be overly attached to it. I should not only refrain from retaliating with anger toward those who harm me, or repaying resentment with resentment. Instead of it, I should deeply cultivate loving kindness that wishes happiness and joy for those who harm me. In front of others, I should praise their virtues. Whether others slander me intentionally or unintentionally, not only should we not harm them, but often speak well of them. This is how bodhisattvas transform bad reputation into spiritual practice. Perhaps these principles are still difficult for us to achieve, but if we truly study Mahayana Buddhism, we must accomplish it. Perhaps if I want to study this 37 practices of a bodhisattva, those with even a little merit will gradually transform their mind stream. Those without merit, however, let alone someone like me, I guess, no matter who explains it, will see no change in their mind stream. This is possible, so everyone's gains will naturally be different. But this text is truly excellent. That's why we are studying it this time. Although the time is short, each day we might have less than 15 minutes, but still everyone might gain at least something in your mind, and get a feel for it, you will know. The precious Garland states, "Harsh speech brings hearing unpleasant sounds." If we spoke harsh words before, in this life we often face slander and harsh words. If one's bad reputation spreads, it's the karmic result of speaking harsh or evil words in the past. In this life, some people really are often slandered by other people regardless of the time. It is true. Actually, when people first start to slander you, you do feel something. Why is it like this? But after getting used to it, in the end, it doesn't matter if others slander you. Some of our khenpos and khenmos, when first beginning to teach the Dharma, really cared why someone was slandering them. Why is that person also in situations like this calling out my name in class? That's really not proper. Many people also ask why he's being singled out. Actually, sometimes we truly, some people might not pay attention to their words. And when certain things happen, they often don't know where to draw the line in speech. Perhaps not malicious, but perhaps for some it's a matter of courage, or various other reasons. No matter what, many people really care about these things. But even if you care, it really shouldn't be like this. Whatever others say, just let it go without explanation. For example, if someone slanders you online, if I try to explain or criticize them, or if I retaliate tit for tat, the more it happens, the less it matters. If you transform whatever they say into the path, this is the best approach. So from now on, whether spreading the Dharma or practicing ourselves, when someone spreads rumors, should just let them say whatever they want to say. No need to care. This is actually a very good approach, very useful. Most of us were like this before. Whatever others said, we wouldn't pursue it. For now, it doesn't matter what people say. In the future, we maintain the same attitude. When you act this way, some think, no matter what I say to him, he won't fight back. So they keep speaking. But in the end, it doesn't amount to anything substantial. It became pointless. This way of handling things is quite good. So generally, when others say something about us, we don't react like some people. Why are you treating me this way? I want to have a talk, come here, and so on. We don't do that. Throughout our many years of practice, during this process of practice, no matter what others said about us, you're greedy for wealth, your discipline isn't pure, and so on. In the past, people have said all sorts of things, including Khenpo, both of us, have had many people say this or that about us, but in the end, gradually, the consequences become obvious. The weapon of negative karma, from divisive speech and so on, will also fall upon oneself. Therefore, we should not harbor hatred toward others. The way of the Bodhisattva also states, because slander causes others to lose faith to me, so I become angry at the slanderer. If so, why not be angry at those who slander others? Some people say don't be slandered by others. Otherwise, if someone develops wrong views about me and loses faith, so I become angry at those who slander me. Many people are like this, but if so, then why don't you get angry when others slander other great masters? You should also feel anger in those cases, because the faith toward those masters is lost just the same. But this is actually caused by ego clinging. When some people slander others, they feel nothing. But when they're slandered, they start to react. The way of the Bodhisattva teaches this. In fact, if we analyze the so-called bad reputation, there's actually no reason to feel anger, and therefore we should not be angry. As stated in that text, the way of the Bodhisattva states, receiving praise and enjoying fame brings neither merit nor longevity. If other people praise you, if they do so, it doesn't necessarily bring merit or longevity. It brings neither strength nor immunity nor bodily comfort. After all, the body is inanimate and doesn't feel anything. Similarly, good reputation has no real substance worth craving. The way of the Bodhisattva also says, if it's only for empty fame, one may lose wealth and even life. For the sake of reputation, some lose their wealth, and some even lose their lives. What use are words of praise? Who finds happiness at death? This kind of empty talk, reputation, in fact, reputation is really nothing but an empty word. What use is this empty word? You can't take it with you when you die. Look at famous people in history, and perhaps they never faced slander their whole lives, or harm, and there might be a few exceptions, but what ultimately became of them? So it doesn't mean much. The point is, attachment to reputation leads to many wrongdoings. Therefore, we shouldn't feel happy or delighted about these things. We should not pay too much attention to reputation. Many people are like this. Especially some new Dharma teachers, young teachers, they usually tend to care more about reputation. When they first start teaching the Dharma, they especially want to promote themselves and build their image and good reputation. They do all sorts of things like writing their own biographies and pairing them with really good photos, this sort of thing. They even personally select the photos. This one won't work, too fat. This one won't do, too thin. I should look my best. The most dignified look is just like this. When teaching, they're quite attached to this. They also strive quite hard for reputation, but in reality, it actually doesn't really mean much. If you have merit in learning yourself, then others will gradually recognize you. Venerable Atisha also said about this, when you hear harsh words, treat them like echoes. That is to say, when you hear harsh words of slander or provocative words about you, treat them as echoes in an empty valley. There's a Khenpo at our institute who often uses this teaching to advise others. Everything should be as what Venerable Atisha said here. When you hear harsh words, treat them like echoes. Later, he himself encountered some slander from others and became a bit upset. He started scolding people in class. When he was scolding, others connected these two sounds, first saying, everything should be treated as empty valley echoes. Then later, scolding others treated him a certain way, like this. So when we actually encounter harsh words, treating them as echoes is indeed very good. Someone once said to the yogi Shea Rabdor, people are gossiping, saying terrible things about us. The yogi replied, yes. Of course, apart from people, what else would people talk about? It's best to abruptly cut off divisive speech. Everyone should understand this, right? Some people say, others gossiping about our faults is really bad. Then the yogi said, yes, that's just how things are. That is the way people are as a group. Other than talking to each other, people don't have much else. You shouldn't speak divisively. Some of our Dharma friends, I guess it's related to personality. In front of some teachers, they often speak of faults. When interacting with each other, they frequently discuss faults. But actually, when people hear about others' faults, most people don't really care. Just like what the yogi said earlier, other than talking to each other, people don't have much else. This person speaks, that person speaks, all kinds of talk. This is simply human nature, you know. When ordinary people sit together, they're bound to talk. If others talk about you, let them talk. It's no big deal. Don't pay attention to it. That's the point. Here's another one. Some people gossiped about Shindon. This person said something. That person said something. At that time, the master said, even kings are secretly slandered by others. So you should repent for the divisive words you have created. Some people especially love to stir up trouble. When it comes to stirring up trouble, I've noticed there might be differences between places. Some people from certain places, I won't say where, no matter what, people from some places are now quite well known in many groups. Oh, people from that place are definitely very petty and troublesome. This one is like that, so is that. Oh, this one is like that too. They analyze these things privately. People from a certain place, this one's okay. See, this one is from there too, and that one is from there too. Maybe their guesses aren't always accurate. People usually say environment shape people. Perhaps that's true. Tibet has this too. In Tibet, first, there are regional differences. Some people especially love to stir up trouble, while some are very stable. First, regional differences exist. Second, people have different family backgrounds. As for a certain family, they're very steady in everything they do. Generally, there are no problems. They take important matters seriously, but don't fuss over trivial things. Oh, that family, I know, no matter where they go, all their descendants are exactly the same. Wow, that family. Usually some of their family members can't even get married. Yes, this kind of situation indeed exists, including some of their family. That person is definitely from that family, this family, etc. So sometimes if we don't observe carefully, we might think we're impressive, but we often like to gossip about others. Look, it's mentioned here too. When people say this and that in front of Master Shindon, he said that's what they all say to him. But in fact, sometimes we really do have faults, but some people don't realize it themselves. Our biggest problem is not noticing our own faults. That's what I often think. The biggest trouble for ordinary people is thinking too highly of themselves. But for ordinary people, everyone finding and observing themselves is still very difficult. Geshe Sharawa also told Karakpa, Nyopa and Japa, these three disciples of his, no matter what kind of praise you receive, treat it as if speaking to rocks and dirt, compliments to rocks and dirt. In this way you will experience happiness. But once you fall into the trap of seeking fame, your mind will inevitably become restless. When others praise you, treat it like praising a stone or a pile of dirt. This is a good method. It won't mean anything. It's not when others say you speak so well, you look so good, that you become smug and satisfied. From then on, you float in the clouds and never come down. But if you're slandered by others, the pain is unbearable. This kind of thing is unreasonable and makes your heart uneasy. In fact, if a person lives in the present moment, that is truly joyful. People who always live in others' words and others' opinions are actually very miserable. It is true. So this is how a yogi really should be, like this. When you're praised by other people, don't pay attention to it at all. Remember this. Geshe Langri Tangpa Nyupa and others also faced harsh criticism to their faces or were slandered behind their backs. In their hearts, they held no anger and constantly practiced patience. It's still difficult to do, but it's also necessary to practice this way. Regarding not being attached to good reputation, Venerable Atisha also said, all words of praise and fame or compliment are nothing but deceitful talk. Therefore, they should be regarded like spit or snot. Throw them away, discard them, because once we have fame, the great masters of the past were very averse to fame. We should be like this too, especially in this day and age, should keep a low profile, and we should basically avoid drawing attention. That might be the best approach. This is something everyone should understand. Whether you're a Dharma teacher or an ordinary practitioner, you shouldn't often say, I am this or that. Don't show off your titles. Even if it's just having a meal or doing a good deed or chatting with friends, if you post everything in your private social media circles, it might not necessarily be seen by many people. I mentioned this the other day. I met a Khenpo who for about a month or two posted everything he did every day online. He thought it was very open and good, but in others' eyes, they thought, oh, this person must be like this. This person should be that way. People think they know this person's deeper side. For any individual, there are things others know about them, and some things can be unknown to others. If part of you remains unfathomable, to others usually that's a way of being a person. So you don't have to expose all your thoughts and actions to the outside world. Otherwise, others might see you as some kind of monkey show. It is possible, you know. Geshe Karakpa also said, fame is powder scattered by demons. Here Geshe used a metaphor to say, this powder is like bait. It is very appealing to us. We might care a lot about fame, but we're unaware its source is demonic forces. When you see people attached to fame, the demon king often scatters fame powder on them. Then when you start caring and become immersed in it, in the end you will fail. There's no doubt. That's why many masters of the past were indeed very averse to fame. That's true. When you gain some fame, it means obstacles may be approaching, so we should be careful. Venerable Nyerpa also said, regard fame and honor as echoes in an empty valley. Furthermore, Bodhisattva Togme Sangpo himself also said something about this point. Good reputation is empty, so abandon attachment. The text says, whoever causes many to hear of me bringing me to shame with a bad name, it means when others start insulting me and my bad reputation spreads very far, spreading throughout the 10 directions for all to see, hear, and remember, I should recall this vow. When my bad reputation spreads across the world, when others see it or hear about it, when others often think of it at such times. As Togme Sangpo said, when others insult me, when others spread scandals about me, spread scandals all around, everywhere, when many people hear about them, many people see, and many people talk about them, many people think about them, at such times I should recall my vow. Which vow should I recall? Just as we discussed earlier, when others slander me, I should treat them with loving kindness and compassion. I must not retaliate in kind. I should always remember and uphold this sacred vow. When we encounter suffering, when we are slandered by others, when others create obstacles for us as Dharma practitioners, what should we do? At such times we should make aspirations. If we can remember this at that moment, it is most beneficial. He made this vow at that time. If others cause my reputation to be tarnished and spread far and wide, not only will I harbor no anger, but I will respond with compassion and cause his virtues to be proclaimed throughout the 10 directions. This great Bodhisattva only spoke of others' virtues and never mentioned others' faults. This is Togme Sangpo Bodhisattva, truly remarkable. I wish I could practice this way, but sometimes it is difficult to achieve. Actually, people have different temperaments. Some love pointing out faults. Some people, upon hearing of others' faults, immediately change the subject and refuse to continue. Look at Togme Sangpo. He constantly spoke of others' virtues and merits, never speaking of faults. Due to this, he was often praised by teachers on this aspect and received unanimous praise, acclaim, and respect from other people. Unlike me, in my classes, I often, sometimes perhaps with good intentions, say this is false or that is wrong, whether lay practitioners or monastics. This is why many people dislike. The intention is good. In this degenerate age, if no one speaks out, and everyone just tries to be agreeable, it may not help, as some cannot distinguish right from wrong. But sometimes my own mind may not be pure. Otherwise, if I constantly praised others, others would surely praise me in return. When I praise someone, upon hearing it, they become joyful and will praise me in return. But if I point out others' faults, they will likewise speak of my faults. This is simply a natural law. Therefore, Togme Sangpo Bodhisattva specially praised all beings at that time. In his heart, he truly saw others with pure perception. For this reason, other masters and practitioners held Togme Sangpo Bodhisattva in high regard. Such deeds in his biography are frequently encountered. Okay, let's stop here today.
Bandara Banma Sodargye